So, Mark, talk to me about add contract.
Sure, Rory. Add contract is used whenever I have data coming into a method and I want to check that data to make sure it's valid. It's what I'm expecting it to be. And so, for example, I can come in here to this method. It's got a data table being passed into it and an unsafe SQL string being passed into it. I can just hit the CodeRush key and choose add contract. By the way, the CodeRush, the caret's got to be at the beginning, either after the opening brace or on an empty line at the beginning of the method. Hit the CodeRush key, add contract is available, and then I just choose the contract I want. For example, I can choose use assertions right here, and there it's added the debug.assert calls. It's testing the variables that, the parameters that we can test here, checking to see if table's not null, the string's not null or empty. You, of course, can change these tests if you want them to be something different, but then makes the appropriate debug assert call. So that's one of the kind of contracts you can create.
Okay,
By the way, that automatically adds the using statement if you need it up at the top.
cool.
I'm going to go ahead and undo that. We'll show you a different kind of contract you can add. You can also make calls into system diagnostics contract class. You can make calls into assert, assume, invariant, and requires, and all of those are supported as well. So you can very quickly set up those contracts. And again, we're adding the correct using statements up at the top. You can also create an exit method, which is a kind of a different kind of, it's not technically a contract, but it, at least not in the strictest form of the definitions, in the sense we're not going through system diagnostics.contract, but it is a way to make a check and say, hey, is the data what I'm expecting it to be? And if it is, I'll work with it. Otherwise, I'm going to just exit out of the method. And I like to use this approach for kind of higher level methods that are more closely connected to the user, rather than lower level methods.
Sure, yeah.
On the lower level methods, I like the idea of using contracts to essentially push that responsibility out, the responsibility of being able to handle bad data out of that method, and putting that out, responsibility of passing good data out to the calling code. So I kind of like that idea on the low level methods using a lot of contracts, and on the high level methods, I will simply exit the method, for example, or I might throw an exception. That might be the other option right there, and you can see there's an example of what what that might look like. What's cool about this is that we're passing in, for example, argument. We're creating the correct exception for you, saving you those keystrokes, that sort of thing.
Sure, yeah. Thank you very much.